And co-host with me on this program for the last year and a half or two or whatever it's been. Tony, good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you all doing today?
Where are you, brother?
Well, I am in Baton Rouge, getting the last little bit of time here in the warmer South, although it's not too warm today. But heading back to D.C. to begin as the new Congress starts off today.
113th Congress, is that what it is?
113th.
Yeah, not too many changes. We'll see what comes of it. They've got some big issues facing them as they once again kick the can down the road on fiscal responsibility, with the debt ceiling having to be raised probably within the next 30 days or so. We'll see them voting on that issue.
Tony, let me ask you, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. You and I have not discussed this prior to, and I want to be respectful of the situation you're in, because you are president of the Family Research Council. You have to work with a lot of different congressional offices, so you want to maintain, the relationships there. But do you think that John Boehner will survive the speakership vote today, or do you think there's a chance he could be unseated? Or do you want to answer the question?
No, I think he'll survive. There's no real effort to replace him today. I do think there is a test coming of his leadership, a very significant test, and it's going to be around this debt ceiling vote. Many conservatives, as we saw, voted against the Senate proposal that came over to the House to deal with the fiscal cliff. They had to have the Democratic support to pass it, and the conservatives quietly voted against it, spoke a little bit about it, but have, as I've talked to a number of members in the last couple of days, they are going to draw I'm told they're going to draw a hard and fast line on the debt ceiling, and without true spending reform, they're going to challenge the leadership. So I think Boehner does go in as speaker. But I think within 30 to 45 days, he's going to have a real test of his leadership in the House.
Well, and it seems, Tony, that is going to be a real test, because one of the things the president made clear after that fiscal cliff bill passed is he is not going to negotiate with the Republicans over the debt ceiling increase. He's drawn a line in the sand. I'm not going to talk about spending cuts or any kind of restraint.
He's lecturing on them.
Yeah, so he's thrown down the gauntlet to the Republicans.
Well, if you look at the history since 2010, when the Republicans gained control of the House, there really has been no true negotiations in which there has been give and take. If you recall back right after the 112th Congress came in, and there was a vote over the continuing resolution, which was the funding mechanism to keep money going to the government, the president was willing to shut down the government in order to protect Planned Parenthood. And in the end, the Republicans, under the leadership of John Boehner, caved and gave the president exactly what he wanted. They continued to fund Planned Parenthood. They continued to fund abortions in D.C. So the president historically has not had to give in anything.
Guys, I want to say something here, and both you guys can respond and tell me where I'm wrong. And I hate to be so cynical, but I'm also being, I think, bluntly honest here, which is not found in Washington much, and I'm not in Washington. The debt ceiling is going to be raised. We can act like, and conservative congressmen in the House of Representatives can act like they may not vote to raise it. They're going to vote to raise the debt ceiling. So, in a sense, President Obama is right. He's not going to negotiate, because we all know that the Congress is going to vote to raise the debt ceiling. Because if they don't do that, then the decisions that they would have to make, how to allocate the money that's left over after we service the debt, if you talk about in your program, Brian, 40 cents of every dollar has to go to pay for the debt.
Yeah, is what we're borrowing.
So we would have to deal with We would have to pay for the government with 60% of the money.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
Yeah, if we did not increase the debt ceiling,
Yes.
we would have a balanced budget by the close of business that day because they could not spend more than
But it would
comes
be
in.
painful for somebody, right?
Oh, yeah.
I agree with you that the numbers are there, but it would be extremely painful for a lot of people, and the Republicans nor the Democrats are willing to experience the backlash that would come from that. Plus, so why? I guess you guys fire at me if you want to here, Brian or Tony. Why are we even talking about whether the debt ceiling will be raised or not? It will be raised.
I disagree somewhat because let's keep in mind that we actually have one of the most conservative Congresses in modern history in terms of the rank and file membership of the Congress, and that really hasn't changed. In fact, the ideological shift, even though the Republicans lost 8 seats in this last election, the ideological mix is probably just as strong, or maybe slightly stronger, because we lost moderate Republicans for the most part. The point is that they've for over 2 years now, they have gone with the leadership that has taken this failed approach. They have not delivered on what they campaigned on, what they promised the people back home, and there's a lot of unrest within conservative ranks. I think they are ready to say, we don't care if it's going to require a shutdown of government or a stalling out of this government. If this is the only way we can get to the core problem of spending, then we're willing to do that. So I think they are at a point of challenging the leadership.
Well,
So I do think it's a legitimate discussion to have.
Well, I think, Tony, a lot of conservatives just in the grassroots have been waiting for this day to come. They've been waiting for the day when the Republicans and conservatives in Congress would show, whatever it took to stand up for fiscal restraint and fiscal responsibility. And I hear you saying that day might at last be here.
If this isn't it, I don't think it'll ever come. I think that this is it. This is going to be the true test of the conservative mettle in Congress, whether or not they are willing to challenge the leadership and do what they said they were going to do when they ran for office and were elected. And again, this while the kicking the can down the road provides temporary relief, we didn't have the huge tax increase that was anticipated. It's a short-term solution. Look, we cannot continue to spend what we're spending and not pay for it. There's a day of reckoning, and I think it is. I think it's on us.
Hey, Tony, man, thanks for your time, and I wish you Happy New Year, and look forward to your new program here on American Family Radio.
That's right. Starting this coming Monday. In fact, that'll be what we're talking about, the coming fiscal showdown.
All right. Thanks, Tony. Have a good day, man.
All right, guys.
Tony Perkins from the Family Research Council. Dave Capellion from WorldNet Daily will be with us after the break. I also want to finish up this conversation with Brian on this topic when we get back from the break. Stay with us.